Good morning, class of 2020. Happy almost graduation. Okay, so good news. Many of you are done with AP Lit and many of your other classes, and you are an official graduate, just waiting for that piece of paper. Bad news is there's still AP exams. Maybe. Good news, bad news. Anyway, good news. I'm here to help you as much as I can. And Mr. Cox and I have really worked hard to get together a couple of really important, crucial documents to help you write the best Q2 essay of your entire life. So the last two things that we've done, the Peregrine Pickle passage and the rivers, those are all Q2s. They're going to ask you about a relationship. It's going to ask you about a character. So go back and look at my feedback on your Rivers essay or your Rivers paragraph. Go look and see what I said to other people. That will give you a good sort of measure for what you need to be doing. Now remember, if they give you words, they're expecting you to use words. So if they give you a passage, they're expecting you to quote from that passage. So don't just roll with examples. They're going to want quoted discussion. And that's, a lot of you are doing those in those sample paragraphs, which is why I'm saying, hey, go back to Google Chat and see what your classmates are doing in those paragraphs. I can't really remember off the top of my head, somebody to send you back to look at, but Sean Benning, if you can look at his paragraph, Trinity Taylor, if you can look at her paragraph. That's my 4-year-old. Eliana Fox, if you can go look at hers. Jerry Worthy, if you can go look at his. Any of those sort of individuals. There are a couple more people in there, but I just know that those off the top of my head are the ones that I would send you to look at. But before we get started on that, I want to break down all of the material that I went ahead and posted on Google Classroom for you. So that we can, I can make sure that you have the written and the verbal, and if you have any questions, you of course know where I am. I'm stuck in my house with this 4-year-old who's not 4. His birthday is on Sunday, but he's almost 4. Let me tell you, almost 4. All right, so let me share my screen with you so that you can see some of the things that I'm talking about here. All right, so we're going to start with AP testing times. Of course, our test, my test, is the literature test, and it is on May 13th at 2 p.m. So we're at 2 p.m. Luckily, a lot of you are taking physics and calculus before you get to my exam, so you're going to know how the platform works. So maybe by the time you roll into your third AP exam, you're going to have that technology down pat. I'm really worried about the technology because I know that, you know, the best laid plans of mice and men, to give you a literary quote, that's appropriate here. Sometimes go astray. So these are the times. If you don't have this document, there's the link up there at the top, and I can surely post it if you need it. Let's go to the practice. Okay, so this is a checklist that I stole off the internet, but it's going to try to help you make sure that you have all your ducks in a row before you start this, because of course when you hit start, that timer is ticking. So they're going to say, hey, write your stuff here, write your name here, write your exam date here, and it says, am I ready to test? I have my exam e-ticket. That e-ticket is going to come to you in an email from College Board. So wherever College Board sends you email, if that's to your parents, you need to log in and check that. If that's to a random Google account you made because you had to, you need to make sure you can get into that. You need to figure this out and figure this out now. So if you've taken the SAT, which most of you have, or the ACT, however you access that ticket, wherever they emailed that ticket, they're going to email this ticket. So that's how you can access that. If you haven't tried to access your AP classroom yet, or your AP College Board site yet, you need to do that today, this weekend, make it happen. Because once they start cranking AP exams, my worry is that they're gonna be slow on the response time. Make sure your device is plugged in. I have 2 laptops. One of them is amazing and one of them is okay, but the okay one has a really crappy plug, and it can be plugged in, but if it's not plugged in right, it goes on battery power. So you need to know your devices. You need to make sure that you have a plug, an extension cord, whatever it is, make it happen. When I click a link, the browser that opens is Chrome, Firefox, Safari, or Edge. Please make sure that you're using those. Of course, I have a preference for Chrome. Always, Firefox is my number 2. Safari and Edge, whatever. Okay, Safari, really? Whatever, just, okay. I have practice with the exam demo. So the exam demo we're gonna go over in just a second. I want you to do that because it really gives you a good feel for that moment. And I know that some of you are like, well, I don't need to practice this exam. I know I've taken an exam before. Just like I tell you on senior project that you need to get up, you need to do it, you need to feel that feel. You need to feel this feel before it's high stakes. So do everything you can to give yourself an edge, and taking that practice test is going to give you the edge because it's going to tell you, it's going to show you where to click. You're going to know what to read. You're going to know how to upload your answers. Take that practice exam. I'm not even taking this exam, and I took the practice exam, and I found it really, really helpful so to sort of troubleshoot people. That being said, on that Wednesday when you're taking the exam, I will be available. I will have my phone on me. I'll be able to text you. I will be available. But I don't, don't lean too much in that direction because it might take up your time. Okay, so I will be, if I'm typing my exam, I have opened a Google Doc, a Word doc, or some other type of document. Before you even click take the exam button, get yourself a Google Doc going. Get yourself a Word doc going. Have it up on the screen so that you can read, start type, okay? I have typed my 8-character AP ID at the top of each document. So in the header of your document, you know how to do a header. We've done this. Now it's finally going to be useful to you. In the header, go ahead and type your 8-digit AP ID and your initials so that it will be on each page and you don't have to worry about doing that manually. Do it once and be done. Put it in the header. If I'm handwriting my exam, I have prepared 1 set of pages for English and history and 2 sets. So if you're going to handwrite this, you need to, which is not my suggestion. I do not suggest handwriting. And I'm going to get to that in just a second. But if you're handwriting it, lay out 7 sheets of paper beforehand. Write your number and your initials on each one. Only write on the front, because if you're taking pictures, sometimes you can't see very well. And trust me, after 6 weeks of doing this online virtual teaching thing, reading handwritten documents on the computer is the worst. All right. I have reviewed the list of required materials and printed and downloaded required materials. So we're going to go to this AP exam day thing in just a second. I have reviewed the exam security guidelines and understand the consequences of incorporating work that is not my own. Guys, if you cheat, they will catch you. And you will be blacklisted from certain colleges. Like, don't do that to yourself. Luke, shh. Sorry. If I have been approved by the College Board of Test with accommodations, I don't think any of you have accommodations. I would know about that. If I am taking the AP Music Exam Theory, ooh, no. If I'm taking a world language, look on that, guys. Y'all can do it. During the exam, once the exam has started, I won't refresh the browser. I won't use the back arrow. Don't do that. It will mess you up. I will keep the exam question open on my device so I can see the timer and the 5-minute warning. Do that. I know that timer gets a little freaky deaky, but just do it. When I see the on-screen warning that time is almost up, I will stop working on response and start submitting it. So there is no working after the bell here. When it hits that 5 minutes, stop what you're doing, start uploading, because some credit is more than no credit, okay? I understand that if I do not attach or paste my response and click submit before the countdown, I will receive a 0. Be aware. If I accidentally close my browser or tab, temporarily lose my internet connection, or experience some other disruption, I will click my e-ticket to rejoin my exam. See, that's good. If I can't rejoin my exam, lose too much time trying to regain access, or you do not see your exam is complete message at the end of the exam, your exam is complete message. Make sure you get that. I can request a makeup exam by completing the form. So if something tremendously horrible happens, your internet dies, whatever, there is like this option to petition for a makeup exam. After the exam, all this information. So this is a really helpful document. Again, this is the AP student exam day checklist, fillable. We made it so that you could type it in like an Adobe or something like that, so that you can have all that information there. This is the checklist is right here. AP exam checklist. All right, so let's go to the next thing on here. This is the practice test. It's going to talk to you about what it's going to look like. If you're really nervous, watch that. But really, the interactive demo right here is the absolute best thing to take and think and know, and just do this so you can see what it looks like. If you're going to practice, you need to hit the word practice. It took me a long time to figure that out. Don't ask. And read the instructions. But you can continue and it will bring you to the practice test. So it's like, hey, here's what you're looking at. Now the practice test has 2 questions on it. Your test is only going to be 1, but practice test has 2 questions on it. So don't be freaked out. So that, of course, that timer starts and it gets real nerve-wracking, but you've got 5 minutes to enter this info. You're going to have 50 minutes to take the exam, 45 minutes to write, 5 minutes to submit. So make sure that that's what you do. It won't let you go to the next screen until this timer counts down. So you have time, okay? The next thing I wanted to offer you is this tone word sheet. We gave this to you at the beginning of the year, but I've given it to you here as well. I would actually have it up on your phone or your tablet or another computer so that it's just there. You don't have to keep flipping between screens. Tone words are really going to be important for a Q2. So if you're talking about Harry in the river, you might want to talk about him in sort of like how desperate he is. Okay, you know, there are how desperate he is, how gloomy and grave, pitiful. Like these are tone words, are really good ways of saying like, I understand the passage. I'm using the correct word. If you're telling me that that Harry is comical, and there's some moments where he's kind of funny, but he's not intentionally funny. Or if you're like, oh, he is appreciative, jovial, joyful, these aren't the right words. So by using the correct tone word, you are indicating to the reader you understand the issues within that text. Uh-oh, my child's coming this direction. All right. So last but not least, Mr. Cox and I have made for you 2 outlines to help you really knock out this exam and do really well. The first one is, excuse me. The first one is this annotation guide. Go sit down. The first one is this annotation guide that you've already seen. And you can click on it, you can fill it out. You have a place to keep notes. You have a place for theme. Like this will help you sort of organize your essay into something that you can start writing. My worry here is that this is too much. So I would actually use the note catcher version instead. At the top, Mr. Cox and I have written 3 sample thesis statements. You can copy those and plug what words you need to through the tone word. Look at that tone list. Yet tone word, relationship of character and character. The author emphasizes concept, idea, main idea. So what is the author trying to show you? In the rivers, you get several different themes here. That Flannery O'Connor is trying to indicate to you how powerful connection and communication is for children, how overwhelming the world can be, how detrimental neglect can be. So there are those kinds of things that are happening there. You just need to decide what it is, and that's really what you're proving. You're saying, this is what this is about, prove it. So we've given you 3 theme statements up there at the top. You can use any of those 3 that you think works, plug and play. We've given you some literary devices to think about. So they're going to say, hey, use characterization or literary devices. Well, here are some. Characterization. Think about how that character is created. Think about Harry. Harry is created in the sort of third person narration. He is innocent. He is very literal. He is sort of broken. Like even his body seems sort of broken and done. Like he lets things happen to him. He is sort of detached from many people. And sometimes he has like a spark of warmth where he like sparks with a person, where he sparks with Ms. Conan and says, my name is Bevel, or when he sparks with the preacher and it's like, yeah, you know, I count. Like there are those moments, and it's when he suddenly lights up. That's characterization. The way he's described is characterization. What he says is characterization. What he thinks is characterization. No. So consideration for fiction. So I don't know what the question is going to be, but they might ask you about setting. They might ask you about point of view. So like Harry has a really interesting point of view. It's very literal. Like he thinks very literally about things. Structure, is it chronological? Is it nonlinear? Is it a flashback? Is it flash forward? So Harry's story is chronological. Remember that like Heart of Darkness has that big flashback in it. So make sure you know how it's written. Figurative language. How does that figurative language impact the mood, the character setting, the plot? What does it make you feel? So for instance, most of The Rivers is written with all this really dour and dreary imagery and cigarette butts and smoke and all this criticism that's sort of happening around, like Miss Conan criticizing the dad, and the dad being like, for Christ's sakes. Like that's just so much brokenness. And then you get those that when he walks into the woods and the woods, and he sort of like wakes up a little bit, and the forest is so wonderful and the river is so sparkly, and like that imagery of the forest is sort of like kindling that fire of hope. Like maybe there is a way to feel better. Harry has that moment where he's like, maybe there is some sort of way to save me, be better. Qualities of characters. So a character has a mental quality, a moral quality, a physical quality, and a social quality. Are they educated? So or wise or gifted or brilliant. So like Harry is very literal. He is insightful. Like he sees things and he hears things and he understands things, but he doesn't understand things because he's like 4. He's perceptive, but he's not educated. So moral qualities, are they kind, cruel, innocent? So Harry's really innocent. Even the bad things he does, like when he steals or lies or makes a mess, those bad things are coming from a place of hurt, like in a place of sort of ignorant, naive innocence. Physical qualities, strong, weak. So that's where I talk about Harry being broken. Like he's physically, he seems broken. Like he hunches his shoulders. His arm doesn't go in his sleeve. Like he just seems like shut down. Like he's like a little snail inside his shell, just shut down. And he seems very small. Like they toss him around like at the river. Social qualities. He tries so hard to engage, but he doesn't know how because nobody engages with him. So like he lies to Conan. He goes along with the boys. Like he lets himself be baptized. He wanders into the woods. Like, so he tries to fit in. Like he wants to be that social chameleon, but it doesn't really work. So these are some things to think about how to talk about character. If you get a piece, talk about characters in this kind of way. What are their qualities? What are they like? How do you know? So how do I know that Harry is sort of like this, wants to be this social butterfly? Well, because he engages with Conan, but he doesn't have a real conversation because he's incapable of that real conversation. But he tells her what he thinks she wants to know. He's trying to get that social capital. And that's how you would defend that point. So here's the part where like you can start to dissect the prompt. What does the prompt tell you? Analyze the relationships. What must my thesis answer? So this is what this, so is there a secondary task? How does imagery? So If you can look at these things real fast, and I'm talking like 30 seconds, boom, 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 then you'll know that you're answering this correctly. We gave you this because I want you to think about beginning of the passage. Work through this passage chronologically. That is how you're going to do it. No, it's not going to be as long as the rivers. It's probably going to be somewhere about as long as Peregrine Pickle. Work through that passage chronologically. What happens at the beginning? How do you know? Why does it matter? What happens in the middle? How do you know? Why does it matter? What happens at the end? How do you know? Why does it matter? And that will give you an outline for your essay. If you can spend 5 minutes on this, 5 minutes, you can write this essay in 40 flat. But spend 5 minutes. I know the ticking clock on the bottom of the counter is going to be driving you nuts, but spend 5 minutes. Get yourself a topic sentence. Go down here to part 1. What does the prompt want you to do? Go down here to part 2. What is the passage looking like? Do this, okay? If you use this note catcher, I feel like you will be very successful. But if you have gone to this one and you really like this one, by all means use this. If both of these things freak you out, then just have one of them on the screen so that you can use it for guidance. But I'm trying to give you as many tools as possible. Now, if you haven't gone to the YouTube and watched the YouTube, the help for the AP Lit section, it's really good. In fact, one of them is about Peregrine Pickle, so you'll know the material. Go and watch and listen. If you haven't had a chance to take the practice test, if you log into my AP Classroom or AP Classroom, I've given you 5. There's 5 passages there that you can practice on. So log into your AP Classroom, go look at those 5 passages. Make sure you can log into your my AP board and make sure you're getting emails from College Board. You need to spend some time go to this list, this checklist, go to this practice exam. You need to make sure that you are ready and good to go. So checklist, log into College Board, go to AP Classroom, look at those outlines and decide which one you like. Make sure that by Tuesday evening, you have prepared everything. You are good to go. Find yourself a computer you can lock yourself up in and take this exam. All right. If you need me, you know where I am. If you want to talk about something, you know where I am. If you struggle to log into AP Classroom, or if you struggle to get emails from College Board, you need to let me know, and let me know ASAP. All right. Good luck, everybody. Happy graduation.
Are you done?
I'm almost done. Bye, guys.